Once upon a time in the grand kingdom of Fruitopia, there lived a rather peculiar king named Reginald. Known for his unusual habits, King Reginald's most notable quirk was his deep fondness for exotic pets. Among his collection, none were as flamboyant or mischievous as Leonardo, his royal parrot. Leonardo wasn't just any parrot. He had a sharp wit and loved to mimic not just words, but entire conversations he'd overhear in the palace. His favorite pastime was to wander the halls, perching on chandeliers, eavesdropping, and later reenacting palace secrets in front of amused and sometimes horrified courtiers. One sunny afternoon, King Reginald decided to host a grand feast in honor of his neighboring rulers. This was a delicate affair and everything needed to be perfect. There was just one problem: Leonardo. The king feared what the parrot might blurt out at the feast, having overheard far too many private discussions. In a stroke of what he assumed was brilliance, King Reginald decided to solve the problem by keeping Leonardo locked up in his personal chambers. As the courtiers bustled about, preparing for the feast, the king snuck into his chambers to have a stern talk with his parrot. Reginald wagged his royal finger. "Leonardo, you better not repeat a word you've heard tonight, or no more candied mangoes for you." Leonardo cocked his head and with a squawk, replied, "No more candied mangoes, no more private secrets." Satisfied he had done his due diligence, the king locked the door and headed to the feast. The feast began gloriously, with laughter, music, and delicious food. Everything seemed to be going well until suddenly, a noise came from the rafters. "Scandal! Scandal!" screeched a familiar voice. The room went silent. Gasps erupted as eyes darted to find the source of the commotion. There, on a rafter above the grand banquet table, was none other than Leonardo. "The Duchess spends too much on wigs," he chirped. "The Prime Minister snores." The guests stared at one another, mortified and embarrassed as Leonardo continued, "King Reginald can't find his crown without help." The king's face turned a shade of crimson that resembled an overripe tomato. Mortified, he tried to coax Leonardo down with promises of candied mangoes, but Leonardo was on a roll. "No more candied mangoes, no more private secrets," squawked Leonardo dramatically as he swooped down to perch on the king's shoulder. From that day on, King Reginald made a new law: no more candied mangoes for Leonardo, and the parrot was henceforth confined to the garden aviary, much to the relief of the courtiers. And thus, peace and privacy were restored in the kingdom of Fruitopia, at least, until Leonardo learned to shadow the gardeners.